The next morning, the sun dawns through the hills of this part of the world, this part of Cormyr in the Dale Lands, and light begins to stream into the grand dining hall at Blackwood Manor. It's being prepared by unseen servants who are laying the table, setting out silver platters, cups, plates, knives, forks, glasses, and beginning to put piles and piles of food along a large kitchen, dining room sideboard, ready for you all to, one by one, stumble out of bed and make your way down to breakfast. What are each of your characters' morning routines?
So, Hal, for sure, his morning routine consists of a very, very long and extensive process of sorting out his hair, followed by extensive teeth brushing, followed by glaring into any other mirror, and finding nothing of note.
Alec?
Alec rolls out of bed, hits the floor, stands up, has slept in his robes, looks like he's been dragged through a hedge backwards, and just goes straight downstairs, sits down and starts reading his spell book.
Oriana?
Oriana would stretch out from her meditation, and would go about making sure that her hair's clean, that she's clean, before straightening her clothes and migrating downstairs for food.
Before we hear from Génie, Oriana, could you just clap, please? Hands visible on the camera.
That. Is it picking up stuff?
No.
That's just not really our thing.
There's a significant audio-visual delay, but we'll live with it.
Just when you start talking, don't say anything for a few seconds, and then start making noise, and it'll look right.
It'll catch up then.
I was really scared that when Dan was like, "Can you please clap?" I was like, "You clap," and the manor explodes. I'm like, "Please." Génie's not even woken up yet.
And what is Génie's morning routine?
Génie would wake quite early, I think. Read the morning paper, catch up on the previous day's events from the paper. He'd then spend some time praying to his patron, his god. He'd then, during that process, he'd be preparing his spells, thinking about what might be coming on the day ahead. And then his mind will probably start to wander towards food.
Mm-hmm.
He might start the day off with a bit of bread with garlic, baguette with garlic. That seems like a good breakfast. And then he'll go downstairs while doing the crossword.
So, Génie will have read the paper and is going downstairs with the crossword. And you all kind of arrive downstairs to have breakfast. Thomas Blackwood is there, as is Howell's mother. And Howell, you have a brief flashback to something like the alternate universe that you briefly experienced that time when time was rewritten.
So casually, you know.
Yeah, when you had a happy family and friends whom you loved and who loved you.
I mean, you know, I think there's part of Hal right now, seeing pretty much all the people of them. Because is Cassius with us at the moment? Still, is Cassius conscious
Cassius
yet?
is with you.
You know, seeing pretty much all the people, maybe other than a couple that Hal holds dear. You know, I think there's definitely a part where seeing them all in the same room, there's a little bit of relief in that. I think everyone's here, everyone's alive, if a little rough around the edges.
So when Génie comes and sits down, Génie's probably the last into the room. what you see, Génie, is that the sideboard is stacked high with all manner of breakfast treats. There are pancakes, waffles, platters for full cooked breakfasts, croissants.
What kind of pancakes?
What kind of pancakes would you like? Because there are flat pancakes and there are fluffy pancakes. There's
Yeah,
all
fluffy
manner of-
pancakes, not pancakes.
Sorry?
Fluffy pancakes are not pancakes.
Well, there are, in which case there are what Génie considers to be real pancakes. I, on the other hand, think that pancakes should be, the size of a frisbee and thick.
It's a cake that's made in a pan.
Yeah, exactly.
The discourse.
Guys, we're like a full week late to this discourse. Pancake Day was last week. We're not allowed to
was.
talk about them ever again.
Dan,
we
Dan,
are now
I'm
in
sorry.
Lent. We shouldn't really be talking about pancakes. Nobody say the word Alleluia either.
I can deal with your dislike of pumpkin. I can deal with your dislike of garlic bread. Pancakes, though, I'm out.
Sorry,
I'm gonna have to go.
We're just going to have
Sorry.
a quick deviation into a
Oh my
very
gosh.
story. Sorry, I don't really care. A quick deviation into
What's that? 3 minutes in?
Yeah. So a friend of mine has just spent 6 months in Rome as a female Church of England ordinand in Rome, training with Roman Catholic men,
Wow.
training to be priests. And it transpired while she was out there that this guy, who was usually quite quiet, realised that she doesn't like Nutella, and at this particular meal, whilst they're having food and there's this Nutella, my friend says, "Oh, I don't really like Nutella," and this Roman Catholic seminarian slams his fist down on the table and says, something like this, "Protestant, I can deal with. Woman priest, I can deal with, but Nutella." I just found it hilarious.
I mean,
Excommunicated from the church on the spot.
Yeah, just the one thing the Church Universal agrees on is that you have to like Nutella. Anyway, that little conversation is happening in one of the heads of the unseen servants.
Hang on. Are you telling me that one of the unseen servants went to real life Rome and had an altercation regarding real life Nutella?
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Cool.
what the unseen servants get up to when we're not here is crazy.
There are, as I say, plates of various different foods for cooked breakfasts, both vegan, vegetarian, and meat options. The unseen servants have done a really good job at laying things out. As I say, croissants, yogurt, teas, coffees, all sorts of everything you would need to be very well satisfied for breakfast and then immediately need to go back to bed. It's one of those sorts of breakfasts. You will all see Génie put the paper down on the, just for the moment while Génie is filling up his plate. And you can all see the headline of this paper is "Waterdeep in Chaos," and the subheading is "City in Crisis."
Don't like that word. That word doesn't have good connotations in our games, Dan.
Yeah.
Although props to whatever person templated this newspaper, the subheading being shorter than the article headline. That's prime.
Also, I
How-
did say I was doing the crossword as I was going downstairs. So unless they've got the crossword on the front page,
Probably where the
No,
newspaper
the,
came
cross-
from.
really
the crossword's on the
unbelievable.
back page, so when you set it down, you've set it down so that they can all see the headline. That's how it
Crossword's
works.
normally
It's my universe, Alistair.
The Waterdeep newspaper is 2 sheets. It's
headline, crossword.
front page, and then on the back, crossword.
It's a cryptic crossword as well, just for that.
Does Génie solve the crossword? Is Génie good at the crossword?
He gets about like 50% done. Like in the morning, it would take him like maybe an entire day or 2 to get the full thing, but it would require help.
So I think seeing that as the headline, Hal's gonna like enter a short staring contest with the headline, and then kind of say, I can't help but feel we should. I know we've got a lot of things on our plate, as it were, but are we really just gonna leave our home in that state for now?
I did not
There's
know how
not
we
much
can
we
go
can
back.
do.
Yeah.
Cassius will say, I don't think you have a choice at the moment.
You're probably right. If we're going to go and pursue, well, every other line of thought besides, and Hal's going to kind of like look towards Oriana, and then say, "Are you two going to be coming with us, or are you planning on dealing with your own issues?" And Hal's going to look towards obviously Cassius, and then Uncle Thomas.
Cassius is going to say, I'm going to try and take control of the Harpers in this ensuing chaos. And Thomas says, I'm also going to try to take control of the Harpers in this ensuing chaos. At which point Cassius nearly throws his chair backwards, and Thomas, without smiling, just says, Sit down, Agent Eothar, it was a joke. I will be going to discover how much chaos has been caused and taking full advantage of it.
I realise that your two factions aren't always the best of friends, but in this instance, I do hope you two can work towards at least a similar end.
Reasserting sanity in that city will be my first priority, says Thomas. Cassius says, yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
That being said, I can't help but notice the two of you were... Well, the two of you have been unconscious and quite heavily wounded over the past few days, and not that we haven't all, but I'd like you both to try and make sure you're recovered before you do anything stupid.
Both of them simultaneously look over at the stack of food and look back and they say in unison, accidentally, I think I'll be fine.
Hal's just going to kind of like smile at that and continue eating.
So Hal's mother, Lavenza Blackwood, will say, so you're probably all wondering what to do next, or what is there to do?
We need to find a way to stop the Nilshai, which would mean going to find Oberyn.
If that's how we want to solve this, then Evermeet, was it?
Yes, it was Evermeet, where he is.
It's historically not a very easy place for us to get to.
Nope, you need someone who has been there before in order to find how to get there. Which we do know someone. Just whether she'll come along.
When you say we need to know somebody who knows how to get there, do they need to come with us, or can they just tell us how?
Yes, they need to come with us.
Okay. How do we even go about contacting it? We're talking about Laurel, aren't we?
Yep.
Do we know where Laurel even is right now? And Hal's going to turn towards Cassius, assuming,
Oriana will also look at Cassius.
Cassius will say, no, I don't know. I've not heard from her.
Génie is going to look up from reading the paper and say, there might be a reason for that. And I'll turn it around and point at where it says that Laurel is missing.
Wonderful.
Well, I know she's alive. I sent her a sending and she responded.
Okay.
So, I didn't write down what she said, but I remember perfectly what she said.
Ha! Come on!
So let me just go and find that out for you.
So what's going to happen is that if at any point you Miles don't write down something that you Miles think that Alec will probably need to remember in the future, then we will be saying that Alec, for some reason, didn't commit that to his perfect memory.
It's that like lich affecting the brain, you know.
Yeah.
It's Alex forgetting stuff.
For my character to demonstrate an ability that he has, I also have to demonstrate that ability.
No.
Because my character can cast spells now. Do you want me to do that as well?
If you could, that would be brilliant. But you can't. What you
Yeah,
can
I
do,
mean-
however, is make notes.
I do make notes, but I write very slowly, Dan. Look at how many notes I made last session.
For the love of God,
Look,
can someone
there's a
find
whole
out
paragraph. And look, I sent like 10 sending messages last session.
Look at all these notes.
Yeah,
My
you're
fields
not
on where I
criticizing,
keep them.
He doesn't claim to have a perfect memory.
but I have an ability on my character sheet that says, and I quote, hang on, let me pull up the text of this ability here.
I'll have you know, my intelligence at level 16 is still -1.
Nice.
Can accurately recall anything you have seen or heard within the past month.
Okay, cool. What did Laurel say?
I don't know, let me check that. You should remember what Laura said as
It
well.
was along the lines of she still has her tear.
Yes, I believe that was basically just
when in the
right?
session did I send this? We're going to be here for a while. I don't know what point
Oh
in
my
the session I
gosh.
sent the messages.
I believe the gist was that Laurel was saying, you know, she's safe.
I still have my tear.
Yeah. She's safe, still has the tear, I believe, was the
Yeah.
gist.
Something like that.
How about, and this
It
will
was a
be
very
Hal,
long session.
this will be Hal then suggesting this. Hal will say, hey, I mean, why don't you just try sending to her now, or maybe Cassius can. I assume you have a way of communicating with Laurel unless she's gone entirely dark.
Cassius will tap his brooch a couple times, and he will
Morse
say,
code. Perfect.
Laurel says she's in hiding.
And I'm assuming that means that she's not just going to tell us where.
Well, her words are... Yes. She said, I'm in hiding. I'm not going to tell you where. Don't worry.
Well, it would make sense if the Queen of Cormyr is trying to stop us. She'd kill every chance that we have.
And she knows that... Laurel knows that they are after the King's Tears, of which she has.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
If I were her, I would have gone home to where the King's Tear might be to...
But there's a chance that if we go looking for Laurel when she doesn't want to be found, that we might lead Raedra right to her.
Cassius says, you won't find her. She's too good for that.
I'm willing to believe that you're right.
It's also like, we don't know. Personally, we don't know
Accepted.
anything about Laurel. We can't even think where she would be hiding.
We know that Laurel is essentially like what, a level 18 character or something ridiculous? Like,
All we know about Laurel is what Laurel wants us to know.
basically, yes, basically.
Yeah, which we have a very professional relationship. Wow.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same as what you know about
Work
Génie.
relationship.
Okay,
We're not professional.
If, at the very least, Cassius has a line of communication with Laurel, then Cass, could you tell Laurel that we need to get to Evermeet and see
Cass?
what she
Is it
says?
just Cass now, is it?
Hal's gonna shoot Génie a look and say, "Is now really the time?"
He taps it and kind of fidgets with his brooch again, and he says, she recommends that you find someone who's been there before to take you. She says you'll need an elven ship.
Elven ship.
If only there was someone elven in the party who might be able to guide us.
Yeah, gee, I wonder.
Do you happen to have a boat lying around Oriana that you have been conveniently keeping somewhere.
Secret for the past.
Need I remind
Yes.
you, I am native to the Feywild.
Do they not have boats in the Feywild?
Didn't have any need.
Fair
I don't
enough.
even know if they have oceans in the Feywild.
I don't even know if there's oceans in the Feywild.
Dan, are there oceans in the Feywild?
No.
There you go.
His
Yeah,
name
I
is
have
Mr.
no need
Dungeon
for a
Master.
boat.
Only an ocean of dreams.
There is a potential lead, though it's more of a information gathering kind of lead.
Well, that's great. I mean, we need information.
Sam, when I was asking him about the best routes to take, he suggested that we look into the order he was part of. The only problem is they're from Cormyr. So it would mean going to Cormyr.
Look, I mean, we're in trouble anyway. So, I don't know. Do we think going to Cormyr would be an immediate death sentence, or
Hiding in
Depends,
plain
well-
sight potentially.
If we can hide ourselves.
Depends on how stupid the Queen thinks we are.
probably very? We seem pretty significant to her.
I mean, it's
So
not
whether
like
she think we do that.
it's not like Raedra knows that we know about the Nilshai. So it's
They
not
don't
like
know that we know. They know we know.
Génie, this isn't helping.
Sorry.
So it's not like she knows that we're dealing with her. We could, for as far as she's aware, we're just doing general adventurer things.
We'd just be adventuring, you know?
We're just adventurers doing adventuring. There's nothing suspicious going on here.
This contact you have in Cormyr, then. Any other information other than there's someone you know in Cormyr? Or rather, the people that Sam was associated with?
The people that Sam's associated with. Though technically, because of Oriana's background, she could have a contact in Cormyr. It'd just be up to Mr. DM.
Yeah, you will have a contact in Cormyr.
Excellent.
Who is your contact in Cormyr?
I don't know.
It's your
Some-
backstory.
Simon.
I mean, I never really thought we'd be going to Cormyr, so I didn't bother doing anything for that.
John
It's part of
Smith.
Urban Bounty Hunter. Ear to the ground, you're in frequent contact with people in the segment of society that your chosen quarries move through. These people might be associated with the criminal underworld, the rough and tumble folk of the streets, or members of high society. So, be anyone. Because Oriana may or may not have been a hitman for several years.
I feel-
Hal was an emo. I was a cultist. You know, we've all had terrible childhoods.
Okay, hang on. I resent the idea of reducing Howl's trauma to he was a bit emo. He got killed. He got straight murdered.
Yeah, imagine dying. What would that be like?
Fine. He's an emo with PTSD.
Okay, whatever.
I didn't say his being an emo was unwarranted. I just
Oh, okay,
said that was the fact.
fair enough, yeah, fair enough. Look, I think if we go into Cormyr and start asking questions about this organization Sam was a part of, I worry that if Raedra didn't already know what we were doing, then she might find out that way.
Mm-hmm. That's the risk.
Does this organization Sam was part of have a name? Maybe there's something in one of the books in this library or something I've read that calls back to it.
I don't actually remember what their name was.
Make a history check.
Oh, see, Oriana gets to make history checks.
It's because I don't have the fancy feet. 21.
Sam never told you the name, or if he did, you didn't commit it to memory.
Wait, Nice. Oriana will grab just like a scrap piece of paper, steal Genie's pen from the crossword, and like scribble the logo.
Hang on. It's a pencil.
Okay, the pencil.
What madman does a crossword in pen?
Someone who's very confident.
That's one of my new favourite Génie quotes ever. What madman does a crossword with a pen?
Same kind of person who fills the character sheet in pen.
What kind of person do you take Génie for?
I mean, if it's any easier, we can just go to one of the silver-backed mirrors and Sam can show you.
I mean, did you? So you've written, like, scribbled down the symbol, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Hal's gonna like look towards Uncle Thomas and be like, "Hey, so you're like the head of one of the biggest, most widespread criminal organizations ever.
Yes.
Recognize this at all?"
He will take it and look at it, and says, "Yes, this is the emblem of the Queen's, well, of the monarch, I suppose, of Cormier's personal, secret police, I suppose, secret agents, those whom are tasked by the state or by the crown personally with dangerous missions overseas."
And I'm sure that's an organization with little to no corruption at all.
I wouldn't know, they're secret.
Fair enough. Does that mean that to look into them more, we'd likely have to get close to Raedra's sort of part of town?
You would either need to visit the palace again, or infiltrate that group some other way, becoming an enemy of the state, perhaps? And
We've already done that.
having someone manipulate them to giving the order to find and kill you?
That does sound a lot easier than going looking for them.
It certainly would be, but one can't obviously, of course, always guarantee when and where one's enemies will be. That's why people pay my organisation. If I were to betray your location to them, would you take it as a sign of me trying to be helpful rather than a sign of betrayal?
Hal's going to be like, I'm going to put this up to a more of a group vote. Do we?
You did use the word betray as you set that example, so...
And are you asking us because you've already done that?
Have you already done it?
No, I would never put my sister in danger. We agreed that.
Well, I certainly hope you wouldn't do that while we were here, no.
But if you were to go to some sort of famous port city on the west coast of the Sword Coast, the western part of the Sword Coast, and be there hunting for a ship, and if I were to tip off Raedra's personal guards that is where you were, well, something might happen.
Okay, well that's... And would we... How likely would it be, do we think, that Raedra would send this sort of secret organization of hers and not just some other goons?
It's an easy way for her to stop us.
I
Do you
can
want to
certainly
stop us?
make you an attractive target.
What do you mean by that?
Tell her exactly what you're doing. That you've discovered information that would prevent her from enacting her plan concerning the Nilshai and are taking concrete steps to prevent her doing so.
And she likely wouldn't want to tell any old person that that was the reason why it was so important. So that would perhaps necessitate the more secretive group.
Have some assassins be sent to,
Assassinate.
If these are part of the same... the other adventurers that
Oh,
Queen Raedra had.
they would have been simply court adventurers or hired hands. These are the order of individuals into whose magical and venerable hands the safety of the kingdom is entrusted.
See, my worry is that those adventurers, and obviously, albeit these will be different people, of course, but they were already, frankly, and I'm not a fan of saying this, quite a match for us. Okay, what if this secret organization turn up to get rid of us, and what if it's too much? What if they do? I'll remind you, by the way, I'm still currently without much of a weapon.
What if we find a weapon for you first before we go?
I feel like that's... I have a knife. I feel as if finding a weapon that's a replacement for Gleipnir might be a little bit more of a
Do you not have
challenge.
any spares here?
It's not quite as simple as that, Génie. I mean...
I mean, I have a collapsible Gleipnir if you want to use that. I've said it before. I pull out a very small cylinder with a pin on top, and I just pull the pin and a Gleipnir appears in my hand.
Hal's gonna kind of like glare and be like, I suppose I was hoping that a solution
voila?
would present itself. I'll bear the offer in mind, though. Anyway, that does seem like the best plan we have, actually, so...
So it means we can actually get out there and actually stop looking for a ship.
In the meantime, I have a warhammer that I do not personally... I carry it around, but it's more just for the look of it.
Do I look like I could wield a warhammer?
Do you look like you have a weapon?
Touche.
I've got a very large stick you can borrow.
Let's deal with this as we go, perhaps. I
used to have a Horn of Valhalla. A warhammer goes quite well with the Horn of Valhalla, I believe.
Hal's gonna, like, turn to Lavenza, his mother, and say, you do still have that, right?
The Horn of Valhalla?
Yeah.
I thought we used it to get servants.
I mean, yeah, I was just... They're a particularly kind of violent servant, but as long as you still have it, that's all I wanted to know.
Yes, no, we used it, didn't we?
I thought it had multiple uses. I didn't think it was a one-time thing.
Oh, well, I put it in the bin afterwards.
Oh my god, this is not Hal laughing. What? Hal's gonna, like, kind of, like, turn to his mother and just kind of like... I know that humour and the whole jokes thing isn't something that runs particularly well in our family, but mother, you are joking on.
She sips her tea and just points up at the wall above your head.
I turn and it's there, right?
It's on the
Surely.
wall, yeah.
Okay.
It says in big letters, Howl's Horn of Valhalla.
Howl's
Age
gonna...
20.
Hal's gonna turn back to Lavenza and grimace and say, We're not very funny, are we?
No.
I think it was rather funny.
Don't encourage her.
I was going to say, you might not be very funny, but you're certainly funny looking.
Alec, you look like a corpse.
I am a corpse.
I'll have you know that after I got my new body, I have never been more exfoliated in my life. I'm making an attempt to look after it.
Cassius accidentally says, "You do look really good," and then realizes what he says and sticks and disappears behind a big mug of coffee.
Hal's gonna be obviously be like glaring at Alec, and then kind of like maintaining the same glare, kind of like turn towards Cassius and just be like, "Can we get on with things?" This is
right here at the table. Jeez.
no.
I'm still holding out the warhammer in case you want it.
Hal's gonna, just as a way of escaping this conversation, Hal's gonna turn to Génie. Give me that. And Hal's gonna like try and take the warhammer. Just how heavy is this thing?
Are you proficient with heavy weapons?
So, I am proficient with martial weapons. Does that count?
Yep.
Cool.
then you can use it.
Cool. Can I add a warhammer to my inventory?
You can, as long as Génie takes one off of his.
Yes, it's the common
Regular old warhammer.
So
regular. I mean, it looks nice. Looks well worn. Had it a while. A little bit
Listen,
sentimental, but
This ain't in
if
any
it was
way.
if it was very sentimental, I wouldn't have brought it with me.
It's not in any way going to be
It's
the most
cursed.
effective thing in the world. Are you
Don't say that, Dan.
are you screwing with me right now?
You get the sense.
I rolled
Oh
a
my
27
god,
on
are
deception.
you joking?
I rolled a 27 on deception.
You get a sense that now that you have this warhammer,
Oh my god.
it's going to occasionally give you pieces of bad advice.
So it's just another member of the party then.
You get the sense that as you attach it to your armor belt, your trousers might slip down more often than they did before.
Do I become aware of this after taking it?
Yes.
Hal's gonna take look from this warhammer to Génie and say, "Why is this thing like this?"
I don't know what you mean. That is a warhammer. What do you mean? Like what?
I'm struggling to describe it. It seems. Would I recognise it as a cursed item?
It's more of a kind of. It's vaguely. It's gesturing at enchanted.
It's got a bad vibe. You know. Hal's to say. This warhammer seems slightly off somehow. You know, it's fine. I appreciate the extra protection. Thank you, Génie. Hal's gonna look at the warhammer very uneasily and just kind of like put it on his back, I guess. Anyway, it seems that we have a plan.
Whilst you're discussing that, Cassius is going to ask if you have any plans to get a new Gleipnir.
Hal's gonna Hal's tone's gonna change from being kind of like taking a little bit of a joke out of the whole situation to a little bit sad and say, Gleipnir to me was always both a blessing and a curse. I always thought of it very much as a sort of thorn in my side that I'd managed to pry from my skin and turn into a weapon. Something that I could turn my weaknesses into strengths with. I don't know if I'll ever find an undo Gleipnir, but I definitely need something else at some point. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
And have you considered... And he stops himself.
Have I considered what?
Practically, how to do that.
I suppose a little. I had thought about having something made or something that felt suitably representative, as a hexblade, and Gleipnir always meant something.
It's a pact weapon.
Yeah, well, for starters, I'd rather it not be a mundane weapon, but...
With a patron.
Yeah.
Alec is glaring at Cassius over the table.
Oriana is also glaring daggers at Cassius over a cup of coffee.
I mean, because obviously Silshard's not around right now, and I presume that maybe when we get Silshard back around again, that maybe they would have some input. That it's their forte, and I was hoping that maybe Alec might know something about it, and I could put something new together, maybe something that represents the things I find strength in,
right?
Like I said to Génie not too long ago, I figure the problem will fix itself. Maybe. With a little thinking.
Levanter says, so what's your plan?
Yes, we need to make a start on finding a boat and a crew to man it.
Which port town did you have in mind earlier, Uncle?
Ooh, good question. He pulls out a map and starts looking.
Luskan's easiest for us to get to because I can just teleport us there.
Luskan's a bit too far north.
Do we need now?
Is Candlekeep? Is that on the sea coast?
No,
Candlekeep's
Candlekeep's not on the coast. Really, you'd want something going out of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. So on this map I'm looking at, Baldur's Gate doesn't look coastal, but in the map on
It has it's like
Descent into Avernus.
I was gonna say it's like the Thames. It's slightly it's several miles inland. I know that London is much further inland than several miles, but that it can still have a major international shipping port because the river is wide enough.
Ah, right. Yeah, it's like the mouth of the river.
Yeah. Whereas Waterdeep is right on the coast. We're looking at like
It's like Hull.
yeah. It's you've gone up the river a bit to get to the major industrial port.
So, Baldur's Gate then? I mean, we've not been to Baldur's Gate, have we?
Could be fun.
I'm sure we've been at least once collectively.
I don't think I've ever been.
I was sent there once on an assignment before I met you guys, but I do not think we have been there since we have been Génie's crew, you know?
I mean, Baldur's Gate's
Probably
kind of
went decades ago, but
it's a pretty big deal, right? Like it's a very famous city, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole book about it.
I was going to say,
And at least 3 video games.
Easily more than 3.
the person, have never been there.
I've been
Okay.
there twice.
So you are going to Baldur's Gate to look for a ship to take you to Evermeet. Is that right?
And maybe get ourselves ganked by some dudes from Cormyr at the same time.
And you would like
Cormyr
Thomas to
and
betray your
potentially-
location to the Queen of Cormyr.
See, I don't
Can-
like
can-
that you're using the word betray.
That's
Can you
just how
give
Uncle Thomas is, you know. He's just his language is inherently malevolent. That's just his vibe.
Give up, ransom.
Just tell. Tell is fine.
He doesn't understand like what's wrong with the wording. Give away.
just-
He's one of those mafia bosses.
Reveal.
Where it's like,
Yeah, reveal.
it's like,
Uncover.
let's hope
expose.
he meets with a little accident.
Honestly, I think that's probably as look. One way or another, we are in danger at all times anyway. I feel like, hey, as long as we're prepared, they probably wouldn't know that we were prepared, right? So if we, have maybe a plan to get out of there if things really go south.
Yeah. So, you are going to go to Baldur's Gate. You are going to try to commission a ship to get you to Evermeet.
It's just going to be an elven ship.
Yeah, an elven ship to get you to Evermeet, and Thomas will go off and tell Queen Raedra where you are and what you're planning on doing. Is that right?
What do we think, gang? I mean, that sounds like a plan to me.
That's certainly a plan. It's one
It's
of the
certainly-
plans of all time.
a plan is better than nothing, plus
a
it
plan
gets us
we've made.
headway doing something.
I mean, hey, it works for me.
Okay. How are you getting
This
to
way, Dan.
Baldur's Gate?
No,
We'll take the next cart out of town.
Cart from the Dalelands.
Yeah. When did the Nilshai come through? Because I don't think we have that kind of time.
Can't we pay just to teleport there? Surely. We're near.
We'll
oh
make
God,
sure
what
it's one of the carts with 2 horses or 4 horses.
I mean,
The quick ones. And then
what
we'll
is
just
that
time skip.
town? 'Cause there's a town just like so close to like Goldmore Manor. Faerun map. Because we went there and I cannot remember the name.
It's near. Is it near Asher Benford? I should know.
Oh, Asher Benford, I believe that's the one.
Yeah, you've been there before. You've teleported to and from there a few times. So you would go to a public location in Cormyr and be teleported to a public location in Baldur's Gate.
I don't like the way you're phrasing that, Dan.
The Ash Benford's in the Dale Lands, not in Cormyr.
Dalelands and Cormyr are pretty close.
They are right. They have a really large historical conflict, I believe.
We'll disguise ourselves, then go and teleport.
Because we can't teleport from the teleportation circle here to, straight to Baldur's Gate, can we?
Don't think so.
No, you can't teleport from a teleportation circle.
No, but read the teleport spell description and then.
Am I allowed to teleport to public teleportation circles?
No.
I would argue you can teleport from teleportation circles. That's kind of what they're for.
Well, no, you could teleport to them.
Come on, Magic Man, make it happen.
We could just teleport there, but I'm just like, that's a long way to like, I don't know what scale this map is at, but that's like 26 centimeters.
My idea would be let's just teleport from here to somewhere with a public teleportation circle, sprint across town or wherever we would end up, to that teleportation circle, throw some money, boom, Baldur's Gate, baby.
I could teleport us to Lusk. We could then pay to use a teleportation circle there.
Whatever we
This
do,
is
we need to do
the
it.
hackers bouncing their signal all around the planet for T&D.
Because money-wise, right, we can pay it. I think how are we doing money-wise? I've got 35,177 gold just on hand.
Okay, so from where you are now.
I've only got 8.
Hang on.
Yeah, I'm rolling in it.
What have I bought?
So, from where you are now, if you were to go to Asher Benford somehow, and you were to then, which I think is there. No, that's Thiverton. Arabelle. Remind me where Asher Benford is relative to you.
It's
just north of
It's like
Dale.
straight up down the road. Like I
no,
believe
right. So if you travelled from Asher Benford by teleportation to
about 1,050 miles to
Baldur's Gate, it would cost you 1,050 gold pieces.
Is that altogether, not each, right?
For up to 8.
Oh, easy. Yeah, that's pocket change.
Unreasonable.
Hal's got that nepotism money, baby.
That's an 1/8 of my money.
Alec, on the other hand, could do it for free.
Yeah, but there is a. I've never been to Baldur's Gate. I've never seen Baldur's Gate. So
What if we went to? What if we went to Candlekeep and then travelled to Baldur's Gate? Because we've been there.
we
And
have been to Candlekeep.
How far away is Candlekeep from Baldur's Gate?
It is just the next city along sea roads, with like corner and the wooden seaway.
I
Baldur's
mean-
Gate to Candlekeep to Baldur's Gate would take you.
It's about an inch, and
It's-
then if I zoom in, it's
It's about
Oh, God.
it's about a 6-day. Well, it's 140 miles, so it's about a 6-day walk.
Yeah, we don't really have 6 days spare.
I don't want to burn 6 days on walking through the countryside.
I think
Yeah, no.
I think we
horses
just
and make it 3 days.
because I don't want to use my 1 7th level spell slot if we're possibly going to be fighting high level wizard assassins. So,
Okay. Well, it will take you a day to get to Asher Benford from where you are currently.
I can teleport us to.
Well, we don't have we don't need to have our delightful friend over there lead us this time to share our travelling details until tomorrow. We could go to Baldur's Gate, prepare ourselves, and then be ambushed.
We do have a very limited time. Like, the world ends in... How long did Raedra say until the Nilshai come through? It was like a week, right? I remember. I don't remember.
But this is not the first time we've been against a world-ending situation.
Yeah, I say we just hustle as fast as we can. Like, you know,
Yeah. So
who cares
I
about the
think
money? Like, we can get more money. We can't get another favor room.
It may not be the first world-ending thing we've seen,
a few days.
but we were a hell of a lot more prepared for the last one.
And there were 12 of us.
Yeah,
There were 12 of us.
And I had a T-Rex.
The fastest way is if I use teleportation circle to teleport us to Luskan, then we teleport from the teleportation circle, public teleportation circle in Luskan to Baldur's Gate.
That
Bosh.
sounds like a
We're
plan.
there in 20 minutes.
Alright, so Luskan to Baldur's Gate will cost you to teleport 1,000 gold pieces. It's much the same.
I mean, literally, if we're happy to do that, I will throw that money to the wind. Just, it's fine.
Wow, it really is about the same distance.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I would strongly advise disguises for a public teleportation circle.
Alec puts on a
I'm guessing it would be the same if we went to Kalimpor as well.
You can all put on disguises, and then you can tell Thomas Blackwood to tell the Queen of Cormyr to look out for 4 overdressed cheese salesmen.
Ah.
Now that sounds like a splendid plan. I think, yeah, I think that's the
We've
one.
each got one of
Gotta make
Jarlaxle's
Jarlaxle
disguises.
We're all cosplaying Jalaxel.
Yeah, fake moustaches, big wide-brimmed bowler hats, cases of cheese.
That's the one.
I cannot say the thought that just went through my head.
Why is that
Okay,
nice?
good. So
Can.
20 minutes later,
I can. We would be banned from Twitch.
Okay, let's yeah.
20
I'll hint at it in the private chat.
20 minutes later, Alec has... you said your goodbyes. Alec has teleported you to Luskan, and from Luskan, you make your way into the public square, pay 1,000 gold pieces, and the 4 of you are teleported to Baldur's Gate. Arriving in Baldur's Gate seems like a good opportunity to take a short break, especially whilst Connor and Miles gives them an opportunity to laugh.
I inside
No,
about
it's
my
not good.
most
It's
my
not
most
good.
cancelable take.
We'll deal with that, and in the meantime, roleplay amongst yourselves. We'll be back in 10 minutes or so. Bye. you all arrive in Baldur's Gate in search of a elven vessel in which to make the journey over to Evermeet. Baldur's Gate is somewhere that I have never been before, but I think, Miles, you've run Avernus before, haven't you?
No, I'm playing in it.
Oh, okay. Well, we shall, in a moment, hear what Baldur's Gate is like.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've played like an hour of the game.
I mean, the way I understand it, it's kind of like fantasy Detroit. Like in that it's like crime isn't legal there, but it's like
But it happens a lot.
you can
Ohio
like
or
get away
Faerun.
with crime pretty easily, and like taverns in Baldur's Gate, you are statistically incredibly likely to be stabbed in one. Like
I love that. I
it
love
is-
that Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, it's like a trade city, but unlike Waterdeep, which is very safe and very proper, Baldur's Gate is like it's like basically Mos Eisley.
We should move when we build our new tavern. We should just build one in Baldur's Gate instead.
Are we going to become the new Hard Rock Cafe?
Yes.
In each one, there's going to be a teleportation circle to another Genie's Tavern.
So,
think-
Genie's.
Baldur's Gate also has like an inner city and an outer city bit. So there's like the bit where all the rich people and government live, and then there's the bit where everyone else lives.
So the teleportation circle to Baldur's Gate drops you off outside the Basilisk Gate. Baldur's Gate, you will all know from your kind of general proximity to it being in Faerun, is a veritable nest of rats and vipers clinging to the rocky slopes overlooking the Kionthar River. From their high perches in the upper city, the local nobles, known as Patriars, gaze down with veiled contempt upon the common rabble in the lower city, which hugs the foggy harbour. The whole of Baldur's Gate reeks of blood, crime, and opportunity. One can easily fathom why pirates and traders are drawn to this place like flies to a carcass.
It seems like our ambush might go unnoticed.
You also, just to finish off the thing, you also know that the Patriars pay a mercenary army called the Flaming Fist to protect their interest in Baldur's Gate and by extension the city itself. The Flaming Fist has gained even more power since their charismatic leader claimed the title of Grand Duke a few years ago. He's missing, so just bear that in mind. All of this was brought to your attention. No, you don't need that. Yep, that's all you need to know. Just another day in the City of Blood.
So
Wonderful.
when we get ambushed, are we fighting back, or are we just laying down our weapons, so to say?
I mean, if we can catch one of them and take someone captive, that'd be ideal.
So we're trying to capture one of them, not let them capture us.
I think if they capture, well, I think they're sending assassins, Genie. I don't think they'll be capturing us. I think we'll be killed.
Yeah.
Okay, just as long as we're all on the right page. Because I may have misheard something in the conversation.
I love the idea of Genie surrenders on the spot and is immediately just killed. Well, I suppose we'd better go look for a
too
boat.
busy doing the crossword. I do love a good puzzle.
Shall we head towards a dock and try to
Yes.
procure a boat of sorts? Let's at least pretend we're not trying to get killed.
Has anyone ever actually chartered a ship before?
No.
We've chartered the airships before.
We commissioned an airship before. Also, did we ever get that back?
I believe it was still with the Harpers.
Well, we're never getting it back.
We'll get it back when the big man in the sky says we need it.
Oh, yeah. When that lawsuit from the Howl's Moving Castle, right?
Well, what was it?
Is there any kind of Harper activity in the city?
There's usually Harper activity everywhere, so you'd be surprised if there wasn't. But
Uh,
you also don't know who's in control of what part of the Harpers right now.
yeah, I was going to say I probably can't trust the Harpers
I think
anymore.
Cassius would probably have advised you not to trust them until he gets in touch with you and tells you that it's okay to trust them again.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Would I know? No, probably not. Never mind.
Should we head to the docks regardless? Just, you know.
Worth a look.
Is it going to be like when you get to Whitby and there's like peddlers on the dockside, like boat trips,
Yeah,
pirate themed boat trips?
there are lots of those. There's an aquarium that charges you about 20 gold to go and look at 3 fish. There are street carts selling sticks of rock.
Ooh.
Damn. Are they like
Just a literal
fried?
stick of
No,
rock.
it's like actual good like welcome to Baldur's Gate branded sticks of rock.
How much for one of those, Dan?
A silver piece per like 30 centimeter of rock.
I think you mean how much for 4 of those, you greedy child.
I don't taste food.
Just like Alex swallows a stick of rock whole, like an anaconda.
Well, actually, I feel like Alec can
Exactly.
taste food. Like if he
Shut
chooses.
up, Dan. Shut up.
I will bust out that real cancelable take I put in the private.
No, don't. You will get us kicked off of Twitch for that one. Don't you dare.
I've heard Twitch streamers say worse.
Yeah, me too. The band.
Oh,
I ain't gonna push it.
yeah, I
Right.
suppose it's not a fight I want to go into.
Don't die on this hill. Yeah, go on. I'll buy a stick of rock. Does anyone else want a stick of rock?
Sure.
On-
See, I was kind of hoping sticks of rock in D&D would be like fried, like rock the bird. But then I was like, who's killing giant birds?
There's also
It's one that they killed 7 years ago as a city, and they're still.
Yeah, I think in Baldur's
eating the
Gate
meat.
it'd be more like sticks of rock, the demonic giant bird.
Oh, no, I don't want that.
So you said it was 4 silver, did you say?
4 silver will get you 4 sticks of Baldur's Gate rock.
Oh, 4 silver gets us 4
Yeah,
sticks.
it's a
Okay,
silver piece
cool.
per stick.
Cool, in that case, I'm going to mark off 4 then. Hal's going to pass out to everyone a stick of rock. It's probably more evident in moments like this that Hal's previous mental state, no, he's chilling. It's, it's things are going wrong, but hey, look at the stick of rock, ain't that nice?
I'm gonna lick mine into a steak. Stabby, and hold it, but not lick it anymore.
Génie, when we get assassinated, please impale someone with this stick of rock. Yeah, cool.
I'm ready.
I haven't had rock in ages.
Given how
I've got
we
some now.
obviously
Years.
we know that
Okay,
Baldur's
okay,
Gate is
so
Baldur's Gate's a little rough around the edges, right?
Yeah.
It's just blurry.
If I look around, do we see any? Oh, we're not being followed or anything, right? Are we? Or if we are, I'd like to know.
Make a perception
Do I
check.
see anyone with ill intent?
I'm also going to be keeping an eye out.
I rolled a 3,
I have
but
the
I still
alert
do.
feat as well.
Okay, if you are wanting to look for people with ill intent, roll insight. If you're checking to see if you're followed, roll perception.
Well, I've rolled a 4 on perception.
Gonna
Okay.
be on the lookout for like wizards.
Alright.
That's a 23 on perception.
That's a 16
13.
insight.
13
Alright.
perception.
Oriana, Alec, Howl, none of you are aware that anyone is following you. And Oriana, you're confident that no one's following you. Génie,
Can I be
everyone
looking for
here has
ill intent? Can I see if any of them are ill intent towards me? I've got a stain on my jumper.
Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Never mind.
Some of them are intent like small tents on that they are living in. Some of them do have.
I thought I was the dad of this party.
so you are. Some of them do have intent. Others do not.
Are they ill intent though? Are any of them unwell?
Some of them do look really under the weather. Yes.
Is there a first aid tent?
Yes, they are the ill intent.
Man, Baldur's Gate's a shithole, isn't it?
Are there any second aid tents, or is it all just first aid?
It's all just first aid.
Okay, they haven't progressed to second
No.
aid. Never mind.
We've had yet one, yes. What about second aid?
Sorry, were there any ill intent towards us?
No.
No, there weren't. Okay.
Beyond, like, you might want to hold your money bag a bit tighter.
Oh, yeah, no. I am keeping my coin purse close to my chest. Good God.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a second coin purse with just a couple of coins in it that is sort of obvious, and then my other one is really, really well hidden.
Is there anywhere around that looks like they're selling? You know, we could commission a boat. You know.
So there is a large dock. You are limited. You know that you need an elven ship, and you need a elven ship crewed by someone who has been captained by someone who has been to Evermeet before.
Does anyone know what an elven boat looks like?
Nope.
I imagine it's got tall ears.
I mean, Alex,
You will not
big
be
old
able
nerd.
to. You will not be able to find such a boat simply by wandering around the docks. There are far too many, and you aren't sure what you're looking for.
We need to ask someone.
You can ask someone. You can do a bit of research if you can work out how you might like to do that research.
Are there any like brochures? You know, like how it's like Whitby or whatever. You know, little brochures with like, oh, a little boat trip to so and so. We're doing a little cruise.
well, I was thinking that
Tavern.
there must be like boats that are docked here must be registered with someone, like a harbour master.
Oh yeah.
So we
okay.
go talk to them. They'll
That's a
know.
good call.
I
Definitely haven't had another D&D game where we had to find a specific boat recently.
Some boats may not be on the scriptures because I get the feeling that, given the climate of the city, there's gonna be smuggling going on. I know thieves can't, so Ariana's gonna search the less favourable circles.
Okay.
Can I go with Ariana?
Yeah. In which case, I would like Génie and Oriana to make I would like you to make investigation checks with advantage, both of you. And
Before they leave,
Yep.
I am going to make sure Rary's telepathic bond is up.
All right. Cool.
Nice.
Two. And I would like Howl and Alec, who are looking in the more reputable places, to make intelligence investigation checks with advantage.
Ooh.
Get advantage.
Not bad. I rolled with advantage, wasn't it?
Yeah, for you two.
I rolled an 18 and a 17. When with my -1, that still puts me at 17.
Excellent.
I also got 18.
Cool. So you two are made aware that there is in the town, presently docked, a high elven cross between a bounty hunter and a sword for hire, called Vlar Tashan. And she is affectionately known as the Velvet Knife because she kills people with a knife that has a velvet trimmed hilt.
Can you just tell me their name again?
Vlar, V-L-A-R.
V-A-L. Yeah.
Tashan, T''S
Yeah.
A-R-R-N.
The Velvet Knife is the most baller nickname I've ever heard. That is like, good God, that's so good.
And
That is
she,
branding right there.
Did we get the name of their boat?
the boat, good question. is called the Death Lance.
Howl. I know which one you're gonna want to go on.
You two boys find that there is an orc captaining a ship, an elven ship that he has commandeered from a group of elves. His name is Domas Halftooth. You're told that he's a very reluctant leader who didn't realise when he commandeered a boat that he'd have to captain it, and has been looking for someone to take it off his hands ever since.
Ooh, okay.
It's his
Interesting.
boat called.
Boaty McBoatface.
The other tooth. The second half. The tooth.
It's called Sexorella.
It's either the
Tooth-
root or the custard,
tooth trim.
isn't it? So
Ooh, the molar. What's the word?
incisor, canine.
Incisor, I hardly know her.
Fuck off.
We're the least funny D&D stream ever.
Oh.
Let's go back to making jokes about intent.
But I thought he was in a boat.
Yeah, nice.
They really, really mean it. Like, they're so fierce, they're quite intense.
How big? Are
Viewers,
how big are
would you
these
believe
tents
that we've
they're
saved the world multiple times?
in? Right. So, which of those two options
At least
appeals to you
once.
more? An elf with an elven ship, or an orc who wants to sell an elven ship?
See,
I think you're weighting the deck there.
I'm presenting opportunities.
having an elven ship of our own would be so useful. But that
We
other
still-
one is called something really cool.
We still need the person who has been to Evermeet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If we get the boat of our own, we still then need to go and find someone to lead us there. Whereas if we go
It's
and
also, what the fuck are we gonna do with a ship?
It's not a guarantee that an elf has been to Elven
We need to get a shrimping vessel. into-
Evermeet. Is it done?
Ever meet? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
Never-
guarantee
never
that an
veggie.
elf.
Ever meet.
This
Why don't
one
we-
has been, though.
Go to visit, go find this elf with an elven boat, see if I've ever been to Evermeet. If that falls through, then we go buy a boat of our own and find another elf.
I mean, there's at least 3 elves in Baldur's Gate.
There's at least 3 elves.
You know one of them.
Yeah. We know at least a third of the elves. Well, that's not how maths works.
Okay. So are you going to go and meet Vlar?
Sounds like a
Equal.
plan to me.
I hope she's not far.
Please don't.
She's in the bar. So
Aha!
Oriana, you can track Vlar to the Lower Lancer Tavern.
Is the door ajar?
It is.
Alistair, do you want to be my new dad?
I don't know, you sound like a lot of work.
No, you're probably right. That's fair enough.
Wow.
I'm a very high maintenance child.
And I've got a 2-year-old, so.
That's fair.
Sorry, that's like the most brutal thing I've ever heard you say, Alistair.
No, he's right.
My
Because it's true
wife,
doesn't mean it's not true.
my
There's a
wife
reason-
tells me off. I get really sarcastic around her family because I just they can annoy me so much, and I just get told for being too sarcastic to her niece, who at this age is probably 8.
Alistair, do you just admit to making fun of 8-year-olds on this stream?
No, I just don't say the exact truth.
Let's go meet yourself.
I use their honesty against them.
That's horrifying. It's
I
great fun.
do that with you lot though. Like when you play D&D, it's
Yeah, but like we expect that of you. When I go and see my family members, I don't expect them to just lie to me, manipulate me, and traumatize me.
Just in game.
She is of that age where she's always asking why. So I feel like it's my job to be sarcastic in response.
Well, you're encouraging curiosity, and we like that. Speaking of curious things, you walk into this tavern and see immediately a 6.5 foot, very well built, elegantly dressed elven woman with hair in tiers at the top of her head, like, you know, kind of like stacked buns at the top of her head. With some of it curling down over her very pointy ears. She has very formidable eyebrows that kind of do that and like go diagonal and that sort of thing. She has a long neck. She is wearing what kind of? She's wearing what kind of?
A long ass neck.
A long neck, yeah. She's wearing what looks like. It's kind of like a pantsuit in that it's trousers, but the trousers wrap round then into a robe that covers her upper half.
Is this a MILF? Are you describing a MILF?
Elf.
Okay, yeah, right, okay.
Is elf
like,
also an
I've
acronym?
not gotten past the hairstyle. All I can think is Cindy Lou Who.
No, that's,
I'm glad you clarified that when you said in tiers you were like stacked up, because instantly I
It's
thought we were gonna go
snakes.
down another.
She's a Medusa. The snakes are crying. The hair is in tears.
Dan, stop making me attracted to this NPC.
I was gonna say like do we get, because obviously they're an elf, right?
Yeah.
What sort of like, is there any sort of indicator of like age or anything like that?
Nope. She's an elf.
Or is it? Sure, yeah, makes sense. Cool. Guys, what's the plan? How are we gonna talk to this really intimidating big lady?
I have no idea. I got the information. That's my involvement.
Well, Hal, traditionally you've been the best at talking to people.
So send in the twink.
Send in this. He's got that riz. He's got that charisma.
Yeah, I mean, out of the four of us, you know, I'm socially awkward. Oriana, I mean, what's your charisma modifier, Oriana?
On a scale of 1 to 20, it's 19.
It's pretty good.
So Oriana's still pretty charismatic. You know, I think it's
How
just
I got
me
the
that's not.
information. Yeah,
Okay.
judges.
All right. What's the? Because we're in a tavern, aren't we? It's like
You
an
are.
inn type thing. What's the kind of vibe? Is it loud, quiet? What's the energy in this place?
It is loud. There are a few fights progressing in different parts of the tavern. People are drinking heavily and eating very questionable-looking food. Everyone is shouting, and every so often one of the fights like breaks over into the next group of people who then kind of join in this fight until it disperses. And then
What is
minutes later,
she
another
doing?
fight breaks out.
Yeah, what's
she is
Falar
leant up
doing?
against the bar, just drinking a cocktail.
In conversation or
So cool.
No,
wallowing
just
itself?
they're on her own.
Has Oriana and Génie passed on like the information they know about this person? I assume then, like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the name of the Velvet Knife. Like, it's pretty raw. Okay.
Do we send the elf to go talk to the elf, perhaps?
I am not
That's a very charged statement.
talker. And that's also racist. Okay.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, if they see one as unkind, they might.
No. I'm gonna go talk to this elf. I think. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they don't all know each other, Génie.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, go back.
Yeah.
No, right. This conversation is happening. Hal's like, no.
Yeah, Hal doesn't want to talk to this elf. He just wants to be away from the other three.
Hal is going to approach Vlar and kind of, if they're leaning against the bar, Hal's going to go to the space in the bar, kind of to either side of them. Ideally, like, the side they're facing.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of addressing them directly, Hal's going to look across to the bartender and say, "What would you recommend for someone looking to charter a elven boat and to maybe find a suitable guide?"
So that's the bartender.
Yes.
The bartender will reply with, "Well, I think that'd cost you about 10 gold pieces."
Hal's going to turn them to Vlar, side-eyeing them and say, "And what about you? What would you recommend?"
"Oh, I'll tell you for 5.
Hal's going to smirk and say, "Well, I mean, I know a good deal when I see it, I suppose." Hal's going to take out 5 gold pieces and kind of set it down on the bar, still making eye contact with Vlar.
Okay.
And not going to take his finger off the gold pieces.
All right. You have very well. You have very well manicured hands. No, she has very well manicured hands that you notice as she just starts to shift her finger like that, and from the bottom, all of the gold pieces fly away from the pile and into her other hand. And she like looks at them and says, "Where is it that you are wanting to go, my child?"
Howl is going to look away from Valar, as if making it really obvious to Valar that Howl's looking around to see if anyone else is listening in. Without really caring what the result of that is, Howl's then going to say,
It's a very pantomime.
It's pretty. Howl's putting on a show. And Howl's going to say, I don't know, just some little-known place. Evermeet. And Hal's going to, as he says Evermeet, Hal's going to return his gaze back to Valar.
She's looking down at you, and she smiles and says, "You wouldn't be lying to me now, would you, my child?"
Hal's going to smirk again and say, "Hey, I mean, I've told my fair share of lies, and, well, I wouldn't be so stupid to tell a lie to someone with a name with such gravitas as the Velvet Knife."
"Oh, so you knew who I was when you walked up to the bar. I like you. Is it passage you wish then to Evermeet for you and your 3 friends over there?" She
Ideally.
waves over at the 3 of you.
Brianna's is just gonna nod in return.
It's that kind of like... Hal's going to nod and say, yeah, and given that you know that I knew who you were when I came in, I'm sure you won't have a problem if I say that I'd rather not have too many questions asked.
For the right price, I can ensure that no questions are asked, except this one. You can meet my fee, yes?
Howl's eyes are going to dart downward towards anywhere where Valar might stash, their fucking well-known knife, and say, if you're asking how much money I'm carrying, that's between me and the information you have.
Alright. The journey to Evermeet from this coast is dangerous. One needs to navigate seas one needs to navigate seas besieged by pirates, cross open ocean, where many great sea beasts lurk and always wish to attack passing ships, where the storm giants have taken up refuge and attack passing ships. If you get far enough across the ocean, you arrive at all of the magical enchantments that have been placed to protect Evermeet. Dragons, circling high up in the air, spot you first. As you begin to cross over into the magic of the island, they attack you. If you survive that, you pass into a thick fog. If you survive the thick fog, you realize that you are coming up against jagged rocks that require perfect elven instincts to navigate. And there are likely other defenses too that no one has yet found. I can take you through all of this, but I hope I emphasize to you that even for skilled elves, it is a difficult voyage and therefore would need to be remunerated handsomely.
Before we talk numbers, I wish to clarify something.
You asked me to ask you no questions, therefore I do not care what it is you are about to say, only can you pay what I ask?
Hal's gonna roll his eyes and say, I can pay anything you ask and more. I need to know that you've been there before.
I have been to Evermeet before. It is
Do I
where
get any
was-
sense?
It's where I was
Sorry.
born. It is where I left. It is where I do not wish to return to for anything less than a good payoff.
Can I get any sense of a lie behind that? Any sense of being misled at all?
Make an insight check.
Cool. Yeah, it's okay. That's a 12.
You don't believe she's lying.
Cool. Okay. Hal will then say, okay, so what's your price?
A journey from here to Evermeet by boat. It will take almost 30 days. You are chartering a ship for a voyage almost halfway around the known world, into dangerous paths. This voyage I will do for you, and for your 3 companions. For 60,000 gold pieces.
Hal's gonna like play and then try and like play it off as like a cough or something. Let's say. And if I were to say that I wanted it done cheaper,
You asked me not to ask too many questions.
yeah, all right, fair enough.
You could, I suppose, pay part of your way by working on the ship.
What would you suggest? What do you need doing?
Well, my regular crew has recently been taken ill, and I have hired some helping hands. But it seems that there are more crew that can always be used on such a voyage. I will charge you 40,000 gold pieces if you, all 4 of you, join my crew for that length of time. I can find more sailors on Evermeet who will then assist me in my voyage home, if it is not you that I return with.
Allow me to discuss this with my colleagues.
I will be here.
And then you just sit there and stare at it while we're talking our mind.
Yeah, Hal's gonna walk away from the bar and back over to the gang and be like, so, Vla will... She's been to Evermeet and is willing to take us there for 40,000 gold and are working on the ship. Or 60,000 gold, which I'm certain we could wrangle, but I'm willing to bet that a good amount of that would be, you know, likely my family's money, and it's a little bit of an expensive holiday to ask my mother for.
How much have you got at your disposal right now?
I have on hand 35,172 gold pieces, and I'm assuming there's more at Castle Goldmore somewhere. I don't know.
I've got just shy of 25,000.
I have 3,000.
I have 4.5.
Add that up.
It's basically all of our gold, isn't it?
What did you say?
About 60.
So it's 60,000 gold if we don't want to do any work along the way, basically.
Maybe pushing to 70.
Then it's 40,000 if we go there and work the ship, basically. I have on hand 35,172.
Okay, 35 plus Alex 25 is 60,000.
Yeah. How long did you say it would take?
30 days, roughly. Give or take, I imagine, depending on the difficulty of the journey.
I've got in my notes that Raedra said that the Nilshai would emerge from the portal in a few days. Is that correct?
Yep.
Interesting.
It's not a good timeline, is it, really?
No, so unless a few has a very different meaning in Cormyr, we're
You're sailing off into the unknown. You aren't sure what the world will look like when you return, or if you'll be able to do anything about it. Loss of
Can we do anything about it if we stay?
Of, not potential.
If
Loss
only-
of confidence in the future, I think.
If only we had some sort of way to regain the, let's call it 25 days that we're currently going to be behind the Nilshai invasion. If only.
I assume this is the out-of-game question. Miles are still banned from time traveling, right?
So, Alec knows that time travel is extremely dangerous.
Ooh.
It is literally impossible to travel further back than Crisis. It is not impossible to make short journeys. It is, however, very dangerous.
It's like trying to throw a rock through a plate glass window and hoping you only make a hole and don't shatter the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's possible. You can do it.
It's just bullshit, is what you're saying.
It's like,
And
you
if
don't
you
want
try to throw that rock through the window labelled Crisis, the rock would shatter.
The rock bounces back
Crisis
and
is like
kills
the
you.
back plate on the window.
Yeah. The brick wall behind the glass.
Yeah.
So you can use time shift if you want and travel 30 days back into the past.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way we can get to Evermeet faster unless we can find someone who's been there who can teleport us, right?
You can't teleport to Evermeet. You can only arrive there by boat.
Can you teleport from Evermeet?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Look, if it comes to...
We've still got the ambush that needs to play out.
The way I see it, our options are we go to Evermeet and pursue Bryn, and hope that presents an alternative to, and Hal's going to look towards Oriana and then towards Oriana's ring. Which are you wearing a ring on your neck again, or?
She's wearing it still.
Cool. Or we use that ring, but I'd like to try everything else. Either way, we should probably wait for this ambush. Maybe if we capture one of them, we can find an alternative. Put it this way, if we're going to plan on using time travel anyway, then hey, waiting a few more hours or a day even, it's the same risk.
I'll remind you don't know if the ambush is going to take or how long it, as in, will they rise to the bait, or when it would be.
If we go to Evermeet, we're going to miss that few-day marker that Raedra gave. The way I see it, it would make the most sense to wait here for a day, see if we get lucky with an ambush and a new alternative presents itself. If it doesn't, we go to Evermeet, and, well, we're going to have to either come back to a concerning situation or do something dangerous.
We also don't necessarily have to time travel when we get back here. I mean, if whatever information Bryn has is a key to defeating the Nilshire rather than just stopping their invasion, we might just be able to get rid of them even if they've already invaded. I mean, I don't like the consequences of letting that happen, but compared to the potential consequences of time travel, it may be the safer option.
But does that mean that we're putting the dangers of time traveling as a better option than asking Sam? Hal's gonna look towards Ariana with a really grave expression in his eyes.
As with learning anything, it would still take time to even teach Sam enough sign language to communicate effectively. And even then, there's no telling if, as soon as he tells us the information, that the gem shatters.
Seems like our best option is to go to Evermeet, do what we can, and time travel if we have to, and use other options if it comes to it. It's the way it seems to me, at least.
This is completely out of left field, but when... I hate to make you relive the most painful day of your life, Oriana, but was there any of Sam's body left afterwards?
A charred corpse.
How long do skeletons take to turn to dust?
Well, given the heat of the fire, a matter of hours.
Oh.
Seconds, if that.
Well, I assume that charred corpse was buried?
In the wind, sure.
Ah, yes, that's how corpses work. Damn. Well,
Like a candle in the
let me just cross out an item off the list.
Ray's dead.
No, it was clone, but
Oh.
close enough.
And frankly, I hate to visit the place to see anyway.
Okay, well, that means we don't have to stay here. The other options for potentially resurrecting Sam don't actually require us to be anywhere near him.
What would you need?
For clone, a diamond worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, and it has to be flesh. At least 1 cubic inch of flesh of the creature that is to be cloned, which the spell consumes, and a vessel worth at least 2,000 gold pieces that has a sealable lid and is large enough to hold the creature being cloned, such as a huge urn, coffin, mud-filled cyst in the ground, or crystal container filled with salt water.
Yeah.
My bag of
Can't
infinite
help you.
baguettes is only 1,000 gold, so
Well, regardless, we don't have a cubic inch of Sam's flesh, unless,
That's alright, Arnold's
No.
telling us something.
yeah.
now that
Yeah.
he's in the mirror,
She has his hair. That's it.
does his mirror count as flesh?
No.
No, the idea is that you take a cubic inch of a living person and grow a new version
I
of
think
them.
cloning Sam might be off the cards, guys.
Yes, and that's why it's crossed out now on the list. But the point is, if I could do it with his skeleton, and he still had a skeleton, then I could
Move on.
Do we take things one at a time and wait for the ambush?
I mean,
Or do we jump on the chance to leave right now and leave?
if we're going to be late to save the world anyway,
We may as well try for the ambush, right?
we might as well wait a couple of days for the ambush. I mean,
I'm sure we'll need a couple of days to gather supplies for the trip anyway.
I just, don't get me wrong, I think what we're discussing is our best option. I just want to say that if we do that, and we do come back and something terrible has happened, that would... I feel partially responsible for not having acted sooner.
The little voice from the warhammer that Génie gave you, Howl, reminds you that you don't have to go to Evermeet at all. You can just crush the gem, destroy everything contained in the gem, and receive all the information you need.
Howl is going
Bad
to
advice. Bad advice.
Howl is going to turn to Oriana and say, "You'd do anything to get Sam back, wouldn't you?"
Just about.
Okay. I can relate to
What
that.
did you have in mind?
It's not something I had in mind, it's more just an idea that I'm putting out of my mind. We need to exhaust every other option other than crushing that King's Tier.
Agreed.
I just want everyone to be aware of the potential sacrifices that could cause. Not that I think it's a bad idea, I just think it's important to say.
I mean, I hate myself for saying this, but are we genuinely putting Sam's life that far above everyone in Faerun, potentially? I mean, I would and have turned the world upside down to save you guys, but what we do as heroes can't only be for us. It's easy for us to say that we need to make sacrifices to save the world when it's us we're sacrificing. But we do have to seriously consider that we may have to sacrifice other people for that goal.
I think there's probably like
much as I agree with that sentiment, Alec. I have lost him once, and I lost part of myself then. I do not wish to lose him again and lose the rest of myself.
there's a large part of me that fully understands what you mean, Alec, but there's some part of me deep down that Hal looks like super conflicted, and he'll kind of like stutter through saying, I think we should do everything we can so that Oriana doesn't have to suffer that again. If push comes to shove, then maybe we'll have to do something difficult, but as long as we can do something else, I want to.
And what if it comes down to it and we potentially let thousands of people die and we still can't save the world? I mean, how many other people are going to lose loved ones because we aren't willing to? I don't want to believe that there is no other option, but
If it gets to that point and there really is no other option, if the Nilshai descend from the sky themselves, I want to support both ways of thinking of this. If it comes down to it, I'll take that King's Tear from Ariana myself. But only if there is absolutely no other option. We don't have to choose one extreme or the other. We exhaust every other option. And I mean every single one.
If there are no other options, I am the one who put him in this tier. I will be the one to take him out of it.
And I have complete faith that if...
Destroying him. Not.
Okay. I know that we'll do the right thing when we have to. I'm just not sure we have to yet.
it may come down to it that when we have to is already too late. I mean, we're already late to make it to Evermeet to find the information we need to stop the Nilshai. We're probably too late to find a way, as is, to remove Sam's soul from the King's Tier without destroying it. We can't be too late to save the world.
I trust that Ariana will know what to do when that time comes. I'm not taking... I think we should try going to Evermeet. If the worst happens, and if things... We can set up some kind of way to keep tabs on what's going on here. I'm sure there'll be a way of us doing that. Even if it is just sending or something else. We should inform Cassius and inform Uncle Thomas of what we're doing. And if... What's the phrase? If shit hits the fan, and we know, then it's up to Ariana of what to do at that point. You could teleport from a moving boat, right?
Yeah, we can teleport from a moving object.
Even if it was a risky teleport, you know, when we've tried to go
Even
one
if that
place.
movement was down.
Yeah, teleport doesn't preserve momentum. Because otherwise...
No, I meant more sinking
just-
ship.
Well, that's it. But yeah, that's the... But, Toril... I assume Toril spins. Like, Toril is like Earth. So
Flat.
it
Flat
spins...
Toril
It
society.
rotates.
We've discussed
It
this.
rotates.
It's definitely round, but
But
is the...
it rotates on a singular point.
I hear Toril's more of a donut shape, really.
Okay, but the point I'm getting to here is the Toril... Do people in Faerun acknowledge the heliocentric or the geocentric model of the universe? Because one of them would mean that while we are a round sphere, we are stationary, whereas the other would imply we're spinning, so you always have momentum, so teleport can't preserve momentum, because otherwise you just go flying off into space.
I just wanted to know if things got really bad and someone told us we could just bounce the fuck out of this plan and head back to Faerun to fight space elves or whatever.
Yes, I can tell if the ship is sinking and we're all going to die, I can teleport us out as long as you're all within check's range on teleport. 10 feet of me.
Cool. So, let's try and see this through. If things start getting bad, even in the slightest, then we can have someone let us know, and we can figuratively and literally abandon ship. And then we can do what we have to.
Are you leaving for Evermeet now, or are you going to wait a few days and see what happens?
I think we should wait for the ambush.
Wait a day or two and then go.
I think if by this time tomorrow we've not been ambushed, I think we should probably head off.
Okay. Are you paying 40,000 and working, or 60,000 and not working?
What type of work does she actually need us to do on a boat? I can't.
You would have
I've never
to
been on a boat before.
help sail a boat for.
Hal like creeps over and is like, "What kind of work?"
Scrub
Can
the
I
deck,
just
climb the rigging.
can I just navigate
Captain.
by like? So I will always face north, and then as we turn, Alex just spinning on the deck because I always know which way is north.
That's actually really helpful for sailing a ship. Wow.
You know there are things called compasses which do the same thing.
Yeah, but like,
If we
this
sail
guy
into a
just
magnetic
knows.
field, the compass will stop working. Alec doesn't. He always knows which way is north.
what if we head into the famous Faerunian Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, or although if we're at the North Pole, Alec does just fall into a coma.
Now
So you
So-
have to be able to.
we know that Toril is a disc. So is north the center of the disc?
No,
Or is
that's,
it
well,
the outer-
you're thinking.
the
I,
outer
as-
reach
I
of the
assume,
disc?
I assume it's like a navigating off environmental cues. So like which way the wind is, like which way I was facing.
No, I think
and
it's
things
that. I
like
think it's that your magic is magnetic. For whatever it is that makes you be a lich, it's also magnetic.
that. Alec's brain is a gyroscope.
So, so you would also not work in a magnetic field.
No, exactly. Anyway, so
Oh, wow.
You better not hope this ship is metal.
No, because that's
Star Chart.
because like if you put Alec in a Faraday cage, he would stop working.
in more ways than one.
Because perhaps all magic is just a form of electromagnetism.
Also, the ship
That sounds like witchcraft to
being
me. I think we should
metal
burn down.
wouldn't matter. The ship would have to be magnetic.
Yeah. Anyway,
This is nonsense.
you.
I don't know what you're talking about,
Large things of metal can affect
Yeah.
magnets.
Yeah,
Like,
but not by like.
Anyway,
Even
moving on
if they're
from
not
Also,
this,
magnetic.
moving on
ironclads
from
haven't been
this-
invented yet.
Moving on from this, if you ask her what sort of work she would want you to do, it involves things like being a deckhand,
Scrubbing
and
the deck.
scrubbing the decks, sorting
Climb
out
the
the
rigging.
riggings. If they run into storms, kind of make sweeping water off the side and trying to keep everything working and afloat. If you mention that one of you is a very good navigator, she'll say, "Yep, you can do some navigation work, lookout work."
Like the ship's chef.
They need a chef. Okay, I tell you what they need.
Does
They need a
anyone wanna know
navigator,
fun...
a chef, a lookout, and someone to do all of
The
the
depressing-
manual,
the
depressing manual
Oh,
jobs.
oh god! Because hang on, no. 1 minute. This means that Alec will be the navigator. Clearly, Ariana will be the best lookout, and Genie's gonna be the chef, which leaves Howell, the rich pampered boy of the entire group, on his hands and knees on a poop deck.
Yeah,
Maybe
Do you know why it's called the poop deck?
Because Howell's probably gonna shit his pants.
is
You
it?
see how
Well,
bad he is
it's
with
like at the back
teleportation.
of the ship, right? Oh, fun wooden ship fact. Do you know that swabbing the decks isn't like slang for mopping? It's an actual process where you take water and put it onto the deck, because wooden ships are built in such a way that because they absorb water, if they dry out, they fall apart.
ah,
Because wood expands when it's wet,
yeah.
and you don't want a boat to warp when you put it in the water. So it's designed that the thing holding a boat together is the fact that the wood is swelling.
Oh wow.
So you have to take water and put it onto the deck. So it's not just cleaning it.
For
I was gonna be like,
for that sailing fact, Alec can have inspiration.
incredible.
Yes!
I was
Best
thinking, like, oh yeah,
inspiration
we're
I've
never
ever
gonna be able to. We're never gonna be able to operate a ship. Let's just have Alec do it. It's fine.
I've got a cross section book of a ship,
So,
like an old sailing ship. It's really fascinating.
are you paying Vlar 40,000 gold and the promise of your labour?
I suppose we are.
We'll pay 10,000 now to gather supplies, and 10,000 once we set sail, and the other 20,000 once for.
She
Halfway
says
there.
to you, "My dear, if you bring the money with you on the ship, it doesn't matter how much you pay me, because I could just kill you and take it from you. You will pay me 40,000 gold pieces, or the boat does not leave the harbour."
You could try and kill us.
No. Génie,
I'd rather not run
Génie,
that
she has a
She's got the
nickname.
nickname, the
She
Velvet
has a
Knife.
nickname.
Her ship is called the Death Lance. We really do not want this woman trying to kill us.
Even I didn't get a nickname right.
You guys have no
Mariana
sense of
nickname?
adventure.
I have a nickname, but I really don't want to bring it up because it's not a cool one.
So,
I'm gonna mix it toilet.
you all you can pay the 40,000. So somehow between you mark off 40,000 gold.
There is right. So there's
I
no
have
way.
4.
I was gonna say. I guess Hal's gonna pay Génie's part of this as well, right?
Well, no.
It's
So
40,000.
if it, like Hal, if you mark off, I don't know. If you marked off 20 and Alec marked off 20, that would also work.
I mean, yeah.
And you
I'm
can
gonna mark off
redistribute-
20,000 gold.
Yeah, you can redistribute wealth between you. I'm sure. And then you said you're going to wait 24 hours to see if you're ambushed before.
Give or take.
Before we hand over the money, Hal was going to say to Vlar, and how do we know that you're not going to take this money and run?
I am an elf of my word.
Hal's going to turn to Pie and say, she's an elf of her word. Do we like this gang?
Do you even know where the ship is, Owl?
No.
The ship is the Death Lance. It is moored at, and she gives you a location. I will see you there at this hour. This hour and 1 minute, I set sail.
I assume
Is
that
this hour and this hour 1 minute the same hour? Or is this hour and this hour 1 minute 2 different, like 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock?
Let's call it 5 o'clock at night. At 1 minute past 5 tomorrow night, she sets sail.
She's gonna set sail with people who potentially have no training.
We'll figure it out. We've been on a boat before.
Have we?
Yeah, we killed a kraken.
Did we? Did we? Or
Unless
did
that got retconned.
Génie?
Did we what?
if I end up being 20,000 gold out, and this person just fucks off to the ocean with our money, I'm going to be distraught.
Alec, mark off
It might have
20,000
been
gold
cheap.
pieces.
20,000.
Right. Are you waiting 24 hours?
Can we do it near the boat?
Yes. And then you can press the back button, scroll along till it says 24, and press A, and then just watch it count down.
And we wake up and some guy's going to hand us a note and say, like, we know.
Yeah, Alex stands completely motionless for 24
He
hours.
will stood there, T-posing.
Pointing north.
Génie eats 30 wheels of cheese.
Yeah,
Hey,
Alec,
no.
like, throughout the day, Alec, like, moves slightly.
There is no ambush.
Okay. I don't
Do we
want to...
risk it and wait another day?
No, because then...
She'll be gone. She's setting sail at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think we
right.
should go to the boat. I think we're going to the boat.
Okay, yes. I press B, press down so I go onto the map menu, select boat, fast travel.
Everyone in Baldur's Gate starts running outside and going, Dragon! And, you know, then many important NPCs... Vlar gets killed, and it's a whole thing.
Surely
Rock
Vlar would be
all,
set to
everyone dies.
essential at this point.
Vlar is definitely not essential. I'm putting money on the fact that Dan made up Vlar probably about 10 minutes before we got to Baldur's Gate.
So,
Yeah,
you...
you also made up Ben the moment we walked into the hotel,
and
and
Ben is
he now helped us run our tavern for over a year.
Ben is set to essential. There's no way he's not.
Don't tempt Dan.
He has already tried to kill him once. Twice, technically.
If Dan kills Ben, I will cry live on stream.
What's going on with the
If Dan
boat?
kills Ben, that's the end of the campaign.
So, you all get onto the
And
boat.
let's all swear an oath now.
We're
without
not
Ben,
signing
we
a
do not
suicide
continue.
pact of our characters if Ben dies. If Ben dies, we die with him.
It's just the story ends. We'll never know how it finishes.
Turns out Ben was the real main character all along.
We can all roll up new characters.
So
I'll be Génie.
you board, with 3 eyes.
Mm.
You board.
Like EYE. I'm a Minotaur.
Nice. What's Minotaur got to do with? Never mind.
Do you mean Cyclops?
Cyclops.
I do mean Cyclops.
You board the boat, and you are greeted by the other crew. You are shown by the quartermaster, whose name is Gully, to your berth, plural. The navigator has his own berth. The lookout is supposed to bed down in the crow's nest with the other lookout, because you take it in 12-hour shifts with you and Mr. Birdseye. The chef has.
Is he a Kenku?
Yeah. The chef has his own quarters. Howl, on the other hand, is in the kind of like just in one long dormitory with sleeping in a hammock with the 30 other crew members on this huge ship.
Do you want to know a fun fact about the hammocks?
Go on.
They had a ring that every morning, when you roll up your hammock, it had to fit through the ring, so that they all could be stored away properly in the right size.
Oh. For that hammock fact, you get invention, not invention, inspiration.
Yes.
Have I inadvertently proved the point that the way to get inspiration in your games is
To
by
impress
telling you fun facts
Yes,
about things?
yes.
I'm gonna cut to next session with a sheet of papers that will ruffle loudly and go, "Did you know, Dan? Here's a boat fact for
They have
you."
to be specifically relevant to the situation and unprompted, which means that I will not be accepting any more ship facts after this session because you didn't know you were getting on the boat when you started this session.
Okay. But are we allowed boat facts? Because ships and boats are different.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all boats are ships, and not all ships are. But all ships are boats? No. Is it?
I think it's like a ship is a category of boat.
Yeah.
Bro is flabbergasted. Anyway.
I'm gonna Google it.
Anyway.
I mean,
It's
I
sort of
can
like-
give you a fact about the ocean.
So.
For the love of Christ, can we get on this boat?
So you're on this boat. You are getting comfortable. You are.
Howl's not.
Howl is definitely not, because this is where they eat and sleep and socialise. So it is never quiet here because everyone works shift work.
Potentially is also where the cannons are.
Potentially is
I think.
also where the cannons
I
are.
think, yeah.
What if Hal's new pack weapon was a fucking cannon?
So not
Summons a
all
cannon.
ships are boats.
I'm gonna kill
Referring
you.
to a ship as a boat is incorrect. Is technically
I
incorrect.
see.
So what is the difference?
We will
Basically, a boat is a vessel for transport by water or a small ship. So, like a rowboat is a boat. Like a row ship isn't really a thing. I mean, you do have ships that are operating. We do not need to know about boats and ships, which is the less popular.
Surely this ship has lifeboats.
It has life.
Well, exactly,
has
but it doesn't have
rounds.
life ships.
It has life
gonna throw it.
rounds.
I'm gonna throw myself off this boat in a minute.
So what's the difference between a raft and a boat?
Please, I'm begging you. We've got 8 minutes left before the end of the session.
So, you are all summoned onto the deck, where
We woke up discussing the difference between ship and boat.
where V'lar rehearses to the entire crew the perils that will be faced, that she's already mentioned to Howl on the journey ahead. Oh, excuse me. And also says that a number of the crew are new, replacing deckhands that have had to be discharged due to illness. The illness is not defined.
Okay.
And
Scurvy.
yeah, well, yeah. And that the journey will. And that
I know a fact about scurvy.
the journey will take 30 days if you don't run into anything too prohibitively dangerous. She also says that those on board who can cast spells should know that by the time they get halfway through the journey, they will have entered the field of magical disruption that lies around Evermeet, and things like sending spells and telepathic bonds will no longer work.
I don't like that.
Noted. I'm going to send a message to my simulacrum.
Hal's gonna elbow Alec and like, could you send a message to Cassius or Uncle Thomas and let them know what the fuck we're doing?
Sure.
I mean,
I don't want to die at sea and nobody know where we
15 days
went.
before that.
Can we... They won't work, like, we won't receive them either.
No, it's like it's like signal interference.
Yeah.
That means we also can't teleport out.
You can teleport from Evermeet. You can't teleport from within the magical aura.
Yeah. There's like a signal jammer in
Yeah.
place.
Is it like a donut?
Spelljammer, one might say.
Not Spelljammer.
Are we going to space, Dan? Again.
I haven't told you necessarily that Evermeet is attached to
On
this
land.
world. It is
Is
technically.
that why we needed an elven boat?
Yeah. Elven boat was code for spaceship.
I'm picturing the end of Peter Pan.
Yeah.
There's a fairy that
Yeah.
gives a little bit of glitter.
This campaign's getting a bit high concept, guys.
How does
And
the
the
boat
entire
think
ship.
happy thoughts?
So then she barks orders. Génie, you run off to the cabin to begin preparing dinner.
Am I the only chef?
Yes.
Okay.
Oriana, you go up to the crow's nest. Alec, you begin poring over maps just to familiarise yourself with the area and also begin just like pointing at north. Just,
Yeah, I for the whole day, I just hold
Yeah.
my arm.
Howell, do you have any clue what you're doing?
So, way back when Hal first left for it to be to go deal with some things, to be an adventurer, Hal didn't even know how to look after himself in the slightest. Hal barely knows that now, so probably not. No, Hal's like, well, where are the servants? Are we the servants? Good heavens!
You are the servant.
So when she
Maybe
starts
you'll learn some
barking
class
orders
consciousness.
and members of your kind of group of crew all begin doing things, what do you do?
Hal is going to look between, our new captain and the other deckhands, and be like, do you have any more sort of bureaucratic work that I could do?
Not that'll get us out of port.
Should I just copy what they do?
Do it well. She will walk
Okay. Hal's gonna he's gonna find one of the other people that are doing the same jobs as Hal's supposed to. Hal is going to just copy what they do and attempt that, probably very poorly.
Okay. Miles, and then we're going to finish.
I will send the following sending to Cassius, Uncle Thomas, and my simulacrum.
Is it a group call?
Yes. Going to Evermeet. Will be gone for 30 days. After 15, won't be able to receive sending. Keep me posted until then.
Okay.
It's like nipping out for milk.
And with that, you throw off the last of the tie downs, and the ship begins to sail out of Baldur's Gate, up the river, down the river even, and towards the sea. The glistening sea, that as the light, the sun is beginning to set in the west, you're sailing into the sunset, into this very glistening sea. And that is where we will finish for today.
Can I tell you my scurvy fact?
Yes, you can.
I was listening to a podcast the other day. Have you heard of? There's a podcast called Cautionary Tales.
Yeah.
Good
Where
podcast.
very good. He guest starred on No Such Thing as Fish, I think it's called. The one that the QI elves do.
Oh, yes.
where they share their favourite fact from the week. This is a while ago. I'm listening to a backlog, and his fact was that there was a scientist. I can't remember when, but like a long time after they knew what scurvy was, who voluntarily gave himself scurvy by just not eating vitamin C for a while. And an old surgery scar reopened, but just to check it was scurvy that did it, they gave him a new surgery scar to try and heal that as well. Because that's science, bitch.
That's a scurvy fact.
Yeah.
Well,
This
let's hope you don't get scurvy, because magical healing might not also work after 15 days at sea. And
Does Alec
that would be a
function?
problem. We'll find out.
As a lich, does Alec
again,
fall down?
it's always kind of vague, but I assume Alec has whatever bodily functions he wants to have at that time. Like, he can turn them
But
on and off.
are you sustained by magic as a lich? Like, is it magic that keeps you functioning?
Yeah, again, because it's the like liches traditionally aren't like main characters in any D&D media because they're traditionally evil. So like the actual lore you have for day-to-day life as a lich is really thin on the ground. The only example is the only example I know of is Sastam used to look like a normal guy until the spell plague when his magic stopped working. So he still was still alive because the magic that kept him going as a lich didn't stop, but the magic that he used to keep his flesh from rotting and
We're gonna have a skeleton Alec situation. He's gonna be running around as Mr. Bones.
well, it's not all magic that ceases to function. It's only sending and
Bro's gonna
flying
look like
and stuff.
Skull Servant Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Alec's gonna come out of this. I mean, he already doesn't have eyes to decay.
I was going to say, or
so,
Kyber when Pegasus has got his soul.
Yeah, it's just it's just gonna be kind of.
I was thinking more he's going to end up looking like the zombified Doctor Strange from Multiverse of Madness.
I think when we get to the anti-magic area, Alec should just start speaking like He-Man, like Skeletor, I'm notably more skeletal for some reason.
You have no idea how much self-restraint it takes me to not make every D&D character speak like Skeletor.
Well, we shall look.
Sorry about your dead husband, Oriana.
We shall look forward to Skeletor in 2 weeks' time on Monday the 13th of March. 2 weeks today at the usual time in the usual place here on twitch.tv/TheAglarion. Until then, we'll say goodbye. Goodbye.
See you later, nerds.